Good evening. How's it going, PH Alliancers, Prosperity and Health Alliance? It's Way T Lightheart with my good buddy Siha top. Creel Hutchinson is attempting to join the call at this moment. Just flew in from Egypt. So everybody's rocking and rolling. A big shout out to everybody on the team. The business has been going. We've been popping new distributors, hitting new ranks, 6A, 6A2, 6A23s. And all the way down the list, of course, Creel just came back from his 6A22 celebration trip, which was in Egypt. Of course, 2-3 for myself. Thank you, everybody. And 2-3 for Mr. Siha, top of the month before. 2-2 for Amanda and Vjon as well. We got some 6As out there that made it. And, of course, you know, the reality is none of this happens without the 1As, the 2As, the 3As, and the 4As. And in my opinion, those people, if you're one of those people out there tonight that's in that 1A, 2A, 3A, or 4A position, you are going to love this call. And I'll tell you why that is. The reality is there is one thing that you cannot improve, and that is you cannot improve something that you don't track. The reason is you have no data. And one of the things, and I was guilty of this early on, is not keeping accountability in myself by actually looking at how many people am I talking to, where are they in that process, and what is the results I'm producing. If I don't have those numbers, what happens is my business becomes this emotional thing that could be good, could be bad, could be this, and so I have no concrete data. There is no company in the world that can function without accounting. Every business that you see, every store you go to, every big box store, like everything, all of the best companies in the world know their numbers. And knowing your numbers is the most important part, because what it does is it takes the emotionality out of it. It takes the pain out of it. It gets clarity, and you start to see your effectiveness. And as you do these training sessions over the weeks and the months and even the years, what happens is you start to see your skill set improve. You will learn these skills. You will get better. However it is right now is the worst it's ever going to be. So isn't it worth it to do something great? So one of the first guys, and when it comes to numbers, when it comes to tracking, I'm going to lead into Siha, and then we're going to go into it. You know, way back in the day when Siha joined the business, he called me up and he said, "Hey, man, I know numbers. I know numbers. I got this thing all figured out. And then let me tell you this. What I can do here is we can just go down to the Alpha 5, and I got this figured out. We can do what I did in 20 years of my other business. We can do in less than 3 or 4, maybe 5, but certainly for 3. I had no idea what he was talking about. And Siha was the guy that turned me onto the power of numbers. So Siha, you want to talk a little bit about your history in numbers and what your experience is, and maybe if you could introduce, I know you got to run to another demo, but how do you go out and track so that you know where you are in your business? Because I know you have an amazing business and you know your numbers.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Wade. Thank you so much. Tracking your numbers is so important, and I like keeping things simple. I did this from day one, and I'm always improving on how I track my numbers, but I want to share with you folks what I do literally every day on a daily basis on how I track my numbers. I use Google Calendar, or you can use any calendar, and I track when was the first time that I'm meeting with this person. So say I'm meeting with John today. It'll be in my calendar under today, and I highlight that as a purple color. That means I have to follow up. So tracking means to who is it that I'm working with, and I have to follow up with them until they purchase the machine. So I will, for the first time that I've met with them, I will put them under a purple color. And then when I'm doing a water share, it's a purple color. When I'm giving them information, it's a purple color. This way, my calendar is color-coded. So when I look back, I can look at all the purple colors. It's called tracking. And therefore, I can see who are the new prospects that we're trying to, win them over and get them to the point of decision-making of buying a machine and moving on forward. So the calendar really helps me a lot, and I can see it at a glance who I need to follow up with. That's one way that I do it. Another way that I do it that keeps it really simple is that I use my cell phone. There again, because my cell phone is synced with my calendar, I can look on my cell phone as when I'm sitting waiting for whether I'm at the post office or I'm waiting in line at the store or at the restaurant or whatever, and I kind of just want to go, who is it that I need to follow up on today or tomorrow or next week? There again, I can pop on my cell phone, look at my calendar, and it's synced with my Google because it's a Google Calendar on my phone, and I can see that purple come up as well. There, that's how I track on the phone. Third way that I do my tracking is just in the history of my text messages that, you know, I utilize who is it that in the history of your text messages, you can see who are all the people that you've been communicating with, you know, in the last day, last week, last month, last year. So I go through and I purposely clean out my history of my text messages, and the ones that I have to follow up on, I will make notes to myself that I need to, you know, drop them a brochure or send them a video link or whatever is that I need to do. So those are my quick ways and quick reminders on tracking new prospects and how do I get them to the next stage. Calendar, cell phone, and my text messages. That's how I track my numbers there. With my teams, how I track numbers there is when we go out, if I'm in your area, and they would book me the appointments from the time I wake up until the time I go to bed. We've got just basically on the hour, every hour. It's, again, tracking all the names. They would make appointments for me by putting in the name and the time that the prospect or the teammate is showing up so that I can talk to them. And I have a very productive day. If they're new, they don't know much about the business, they just want to learn more about or just have a talk with myself, they get a half an hour. If they are you know, they've been in the business or they're a true business builder or they need some health advice or whatnot, then they'll book me for an hour. So that's a part of tracking. Because that's filled out. Once it's filled out, that's my calendar for the day, but I take that with me and I do my best and I follow up next week or follow up in the week, every other week, you know, just to make sure that they're getting the advice and the guidance that they need to do. So my tracking is very simple. I can do it anywhere in the world. When you become a 6A, which many of you are becoming 6As, we get from Enagic, when a sale goes through, we get an email from Enagic that allows us to know who just signed on your team with the new prospect's name and phone number. Well, I store all those emails. In a folder, and there again, when I have time, whether I'm at a coffee shop or sometimes I'm driving, and I can read these names and I can just call and say hello. So my tracking is my daily work, my text messages, my email, my calendar, and the emails that I get from Enagic. So those are my quick tips for tracking. It's very important and you should do it. And if you guys need any help on that, please let me know. So I will bring Wade back on because he's going to give you a system, a PowerPoint for the tracking himself with the numbers. So Wade, back to you, my friend.
Thanks so much, Siha. And I know you got to run to a demo. This is the man that said, hey, demo a day, a check a day. That's the way it works, and that's how it does work. But when you first start doing that, you don't see those checks at first. But then as that replicates over and over, sometimes you start seeing 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 20 checks in your mailbox on a given day, and that's part of the key. So tracking is different. And thank you for sharing, Siha, also a little bit about where you kind of are in the business now and how that's working for you. I want to go backwards for those. So if you got to run, that's okay. I want to go to those people who are just starting. And I want to talk to you a little bit about when you get started, that initial list. And I can't stress the importance of just putting a list together and going through that list. Now, just so you guys know, and you don't have to be really sophisticated. You don't have to do it. Some people, I know, have really nice spreadsheets and PowerPoints, and that's great. If you want to do it that way, go ahead. I set out my monthly and quarterly goals or my yearly goals. I set it out here in 90-day game plans, and then I set out my big vision here. This is a moleskin, by the way. I'm an old school guy. I grew up without the internet. So I like things and just simple writing it down. There's something that goes on in my brain when I write it down. So this is my big 90-day thing. Now this is my meetings calendar. Now for me, this is the big one, and this is moleskin number 2. This is where I track the meeting that I had. So for example, today I had a meeting with one of our team members, and she was looking at how do I handle price objection. So I took her through the process of how you handle a price objection, talked about the Jordan Belfort stuff, and this was how I tracked how that discussion went. I've got the date, here it is, da-da-da-da-da, all that sort of stuff, who the call was with, what the time was, and that sort of stuff. So that's how I track my meetings. Now, again, that's a little different. If you don't have team members, what do? Well, I'm always looking for team members. I'm always looking for new prospects. So if you look here, for example, I'll just show you. Here is a little list of the people that I'm in the process of contacting. So what I do is I put a check mark. If I've put a check mark, I've contacted them. And what that means is then I move them over. This is also my daily calendar. So I have my list that I put out at the first of the week that I check. And then I take off that list who I'm meeting today. Okay, so here's one day. Here's the people that I'm meeting on my list. Okay, now this for a lot of people is hen scratch. It doesn't work. Let's talk about how I use the calendar. So let's say someone's going to book with me. What I do is I book into my calendar, and the night before, this reminds me of who I'm talking with, at what time I'm talking with. I also have the Book Wade site that's for people who are coming in. So these are some of the tools and trades that I use for tracking numbers. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, especially when you're starting out, is how much you're prospecting. So when you start out, you need that big list of 25, 35, 45, 50, 100 names, 200 names. Where do you get them? You get them from your cell phone, right? When someone gives you a card, don't just put the card away. Put them on your list. So for example, write them down, transfer them to your list, whatever you want to do. So let's go back to here. So here's the thing with your numbers. Every successful in the business tracks their numbers, okay? And this allows you to know if you're growing or declining. And sometimes it's hard to tell because oftentimes when you're growing, you got people coming into the pipe, but you don't see that your income is coming in. They're in the process of purchasing, and there's a cycle to these. You'll notice that these comes in cycles. So if you get a lot of conversations going, let's say early in the month, you send out those 25 texts the first week, you've got 5 follow-ups the second week, you've added another 5 people to the list, maybe you did 7 presentations the second week, the third week you've added another 5 more people to that list, you've got 10 presentations, and you're doing presentations for groups of people because someone's about ready to join, and then the fourth week all of a sudden you had 4 people join, and then you've got a couple presentations, and all of a sudden your business is blowing up. Now here's the thing. At this stage you're working with your group and you stop, a lot of people will stop new people. So what they don't realize is their business is growing. So when their business was growing, it didn't look like they were making money. Okay? Now that they've sold a few machines and they're working in their group, the business is growing, but they're not growing their direct response. So you start to learn that. So here's a way that you can track. In your email, I think it's on PHA align number 9. You're going to see, and for some reason this all got messed up on my page. I don't know why that is, but it's a monthly tracker. And if you look at here, here's where you just put the contacts. Now this is a simple list that we did. Actually, Krill put this together. And then here's the appointments. You put the date that you have an appointment with them. Okay? Are they on a water trial? Are they, selling? Or did they hit a new rank? So this is where you want to go. Now, again, if you're following the process, if you really want to be successful in this business, if you really want to make money, you've got to start off at ground zero. And it's going to take a lot of momentum. You need to send out 25 texts right off the bat. You just do that the first day, get some momentum. and follow up with those people, and every Monday you send out 25 texts. If you do this, or Sunday night, or Saturday, or whatever it happens to be, whatever the day is your texting day, it takes you about an hour, okay? 1 hour of time will set the momentum so you can start booking appointments and getting people on water trials or sales or demonstrations. So it's, you need a demo, okay? They're either going to buy or they need a trial, okay? One of the two. So they're either on a trial or buy, and then from there, are they making a sale? Where are they in that process? How do you follow up? How do you get them to appointments, okay? That's really all it boils down to. Now let's talk about daily and monthly. So here's the things that you need to be tracking. Number one, making a contact. Starting the inviting process or relationship building. You know, not always are you going to go right into a pitch. Like, I'm always working on people who I think have skill sets or are proven in this industry. I've got half a dozen conversations going on all the time where I'll meet people. So, for example, I met with a person today who is a distributor in another organization, like in a totally different company, and they like our product, and I know that this person wants to purchase a machine at some point in time. And who knows what's going to happen with her company at any point in time. Something could change or whatever. So I just had a little quick meeting with her today, 30 minutes, just had a tea with her, just to check in, see what's going on, that sort of stuff. That's one level of contact. Another one is someone that you are prospecting hard, okay, that's maybe looking for a business or looking for health stuff or that sort of stuff, or they're on a water trial. So you got to separate your appointments to demos, to one-on-one, to use of third-party tools. Use of third-party tools is sending a person to a video. Maybe they've gotten a brochure, picked up a book, they're watching something for you, something like that, or going to the PH Alliance, whatever it happens to be. But here's where the rubber hits the road, right here. Follow-ups. Look, the fortune is in the follow-ups. You got to realize it's going to be 5 or 6 no's on average. Not necessarily no's, they're going to be stalls. You've got to move past these stalls. You've got to expect them and move the process forward. Some people will go quickly, but generally the faster you move through that, the better you're going to get. Also, 3-way calls. For those of you who don't know, I have the www.meetme.so/book-Wade. That's the Book Wade appointment. I do 3-way calls, and your upline should be doing it. Creel does 3-way calls. Siha does 3-way calls. Most of the 6As do 3-way calls. If you're starting out and you have no business experience, or you don't have that much experience in the business, here's the thing. You want to leverage your upline. Say, hey, you know what? I'm just new to this, but I'm working with some of the most successful people in the business. These are socially conscious entrepreneurs. Why don't I get you on a call at this time? If I were to hook you up with one of the top people in our business, would you be able to meet him at X amount of time? Yes, book that appointment. And then get them on there and do a nice introduction and shut up. Just zip it and listen. And from that, you'll start to learn the techniques and the communication style and the way of inviting questions. This is learning on the fly, and that's what makes our business very uniquely. And you can track that. So if you're not producing results and you're new, chances are you're not using your upline in a way, like with using the 3-way calls, you're not getting people out to demos, or you're not bringing your upline to your one-on-one meetings. And believe me, you can use that. That's a big thing. I love the one-on-one. I think it's great. I think it's a great way to ask the questions that you don't get in a big demo. So oftentimes you can do a one-on-one and then bring them to the demo. That gives you the social proof. A lot of people try to go to the demo first, and I think oftentimes the one-on-one, especially when you're early on, is a great idea. 3, water trial. So this is kind of the advanced stage of tracking. So you can see, you can put where they are in this business, made a contact, set an appointment. Number 3, got them on a water trial. So if you're there in your tracking process, and you can write these down. It's all in your sheets, by the way. It's in your emails on PH Alliance 9. Get them on a water trial. This is where you want to just follow up occasionally and say, hey, have you been using all the waters? How much water have you been drinking? Have you been drinking a gallon a day? You need to remind people, because they've only maybe seen one demo. You've seen 452,000 maybe. You forget that they're new. They don't know all the things that you knew, that you know. So So the water trial, you need to follow up, make sure you're helping them, making sure they're under that, make sure they're trying to wash the vegetables, make sure they're doing some of the cool things that the water machine does to move it past the idea that it's a filter. Next, here's the big one, sales. You want to track your sales. So how many sales you're getting. Now, so let's say you go out and you send out 25 contacts. I'm just going to use this as a hypothetical. Out of those 25 texts you start out in, and that doesn't, and we have the inviting formula. You can refer to your Alliance webinars and emails on that format. Number two is you make your appointments. So let's say you got 5 appointments. Well, you know if you send out 25 messages, you're going to get 5 appointments. That's your rate. As you get better, that will go up. Okay? So from there, out of those 5 appointments, let's say you've got 3 people on a water trial, and out of those 3 people, you got a sale. Okay? That's great. So what you know is that 25 people in here is going to lead to 5 people here, is going to lead to 3 people here, is going to lead to 1 person there. Guess what? You know exactly what you need to do in order to be successful. And here's the best part. It's never going to be worse than when you start out. Okay, because as you grow and your team grows, not only is your skill set going to go up, not only are you going to build momentum, okay, and more people will be attracted to this, but your team is going to start doing this as you get business builders in your team. And then it's always nice to check out the new ranks and the rank and the name chart it and give a shout out if you can to the people in your group. This is the things that you need to track though, these 5 things. How many contacts you're making on a weekly basis. And that is not just writing to them, sending out the message. 2, how many appointments are you getting out of that? 3, how many people are you getting out on water trials, and how many sales are you making? Those are the critical ones. And if you know your new rank, so let's say you want to get to 2A. Okay, you're starting out. You want to get from 1A to 2A. You need to make 3 sales. So guess what? You go out there and you contact 25 people. You set 5. You got 5 appointments right off the bat. You went out with your upline and you talked to people. You ended up getting 3 people on a water trial. And after your first month, you made a sale. That's incredible, because what happens is you've got a process. If you go out, contact a few people, you don't know how many people you talk to, you get an appointment with your friend who will get into anything that you involve, and they buy, say, a home health package, and they got 3, and you go, wow, I got 3 off the one thing. Well, and next month, you try and do the same thing. You talk to the one person, they don't do anything. And your friend that got into this, you know, took off on a trip for 3 months. Guess what? You don't have a process. So I'd rather see someone with a process that's not maybe that efficient, or maybe they're only getting 1 sale here and there and 25 contacts or whatever. I'd rather see that, because we know we can build the skills around it. And believe me, it's learning the skills. So that's what you want to track. And then finally, with accountability. You know, start at the first of the month. Look at what your, now here's the thing, you can't always control ranks. You can't, you set the goal, but the only thing that you can really control is how many people you contact in a month, how many people you ask to get an appointment. And from the appointments, you do that. And so once you know, it comes down to the first things first. Reach out and talk to people. Make the contact, and you know what that does is it takes the ease, it eases the pain of rejection. If you go out, you know, I remember Romy Verdera, who's making like $1 gazillion in this business. He went 6A in 90 days because he thought you had to go 6A in 90 days. He didn't think there was an option, and his upline JV didn't tell him that there was an option. He just said, okay, this is what I want to do. Now, Cindy Brigante is one of his contacts, just to give you an idea how well Romy's doing. Okay, so here's what he did. He went out and he contacted everybody he knew, and he did as many. You look at his calendar book. He has a calendar book just like this. He set up all those calendar appointments, and he went, okay, let's set as many as we can. And he was doing anywhere from 2 to 6 demos a day. And he estimates, according to his information, that he pitched a total of about 500 people in that first month. And he didn't have an ORP meter. He didn't have a good PowerPoint. He just had the drops. And he went around to people's houses and he did one-on-ones, and then eventually it was groups, and some of those people brought people, but he said it was about 500 people. Now, 100 people joined his business, okay? So guess what? He had an 80% fail rate. 80% of the people that showed up never did a thing in the business, never did. But you know what? Out of that group, you got Cynthia Brigante, and you got a few other big leaders too. So by knowing that data, and he said that all-out massive action, that first 90 days where he went on a total blitz, he said that business has made him millions of dollars, and he knew his numbers. And he also after that, he started sending out videos. He sent out videos. 2000. He was burning them. The sun was burning and stuff, and he knew all those numbers. If you've seen his presentation, you can check it out online. I can show it to you. He'll show the power of numbers, because once you know your numbers, then you can say, you know what, I know that my rates are like this, and if I contact 500 people, I'm going to be 6A. Or if I contact 300 people or 600 people or 1,000, you just know your numbers, and that gets you past emotionality. Numbers don't lie, okay? Numbers don't lie. The other thing is, when you have your data and you share it with your upline, what happens is that gives us the ability to help coach you in the skill set that you might need. You know, there's 7 skills in this business. So that's another key. So your results will be a direct correlation to your activity. When my activity slows down, my business slows down. When my activity goes up, my business goes up. You know what's interesting? I get, when my activity goes up, something really weird happens, that this non-linear people come out of the woodwork and get attracted to my business. So that's really interesting. I don't know why that is. So again, your leader is here to give you feedback on the activity and the results, and to guide you to the right tool, the right training, to help you coach, and maybe to help you out along the way so that you can become successful. And it doesn't matter if you become successful in a week, a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3. It doesn't matter. You go at your own speed. But give us the data, and then we can help you better today. So like today when I had that conversation, the person I was talking to, she gave me the exact data of what she was working on for a challenge, and I was able to provide for her some of the tools that I've used and some of the tools that my teammates have used successfully to help her overcome that challenge. And that data is very, very important. Okay? Finally, let's commit to the process for 2016. Okay? This is really, really critical. So we got to commit to the process. So let's talk about this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slide in here to the process. So if you're just joining Enagic, you start off, you get like 24 emails smashed down right off the bat. We send all of the emails that we're doing instantly. Some people are keeners. They want to go through everything. What we do after is we send an email, 2 emails a week for the next 12 weeks, and that takes you. So now we're into email number 10, which is, so switching gears, we've gone from tracking, we're going into your distributor area. So there's 2 things. How to get a machine. When you go to enagic.com and you want to order a machine, you got somebody ready to order and you haven't done that. Your first time or two, I highly recommend bringing in your upline support to help you with this process. I remember I was like all stressed and I was terrible at paperwork. We didn't have a website. But one of the easiest ways to do this is go to enagicweb.com, put in your distributor ID and then your password, which is Enagic 2010. Inside there's the document download. So if you're doing the old school printing, this is where you want to go. You go to enagic.com, you put your distributor ID in there, then you put your password, which is Enagic 2010. That's everybody's. I would also put save on that, so the next time you go in there, it automatically remembers that, and then you go right in. So when you're on the document download page, download those documents so that you have them. When you go out to a call, you should have an order page right there that you can fill out the information when they're ready to go. You want to be prepared. If you're looking for how to, now if you follow the PH Alliance web platform and you're in United States or Canada, keep in mind that you can go directly to the EWS website. Okay, the EWS website, your EWS website, which will be your link. You can play this little video right here, and it's in your email, by the way, today, so you don't have to worry about it. Basically, it takes you through the process of ordering a machine on your demo, and I like this one. One of the things that we learned from Siha is just we have people oftentimes just text over a picture of their driver's license and a picture of their credit card, and we fill out the information online for them. We set them up, we get the machine ordered, and then we plug them right into the thing. So there's another thing here, another video that we've included in this email. This is PHA number 10 in your email box. How to fill out the Enagic order form. So when you fill them out, you can just go through this process. So that's what we're doing. This makes it very simple, very easy, and very functional so that you can learn this process and go through that. So these are the two things we want to cover in 9 and 10, and now what we're going to do is we're going to open it up to our favorite time, and that is the questions. So if we have questions, we'll love to have it, and I'm getting texts here. Yeah, I know we're getting wonky sounds sometimes. It happens. Not much we can do about it. So let's turn the questions over. Thanks for keeping me up to speed, Kim, about the technical side of things. We had a little wire malfunction. So let's take a look at. So if you have some questions right now, please shoot them out. Just a quick shout out to everybody, to Andrew and Brandon and Cameron and Carmen and Christy and Klaus and Colleen. Hi, Colleen. Danny, great to see you from you. Must be back from fishing season. Gary, Jeannie, nice. Hey, Jeannie. Gowan, all right, our stud, Isaac, Jenny, Jody, wow, great to see you, Jody, Julia, Carla, Clara, Landon, Linda, Liza, and Ron, great to have you out here. Mark, just hung out at Mark's place, that was great to see you, Mark, that was awesome down in California. Marlene, Maureen, awesome, great to have you on board. Melissa, Miranda, Nat, Robin, Roger, the tattoo man himself. We've got Sadrina, I hope I got that right. Sadrina, welcome to the call. Sharon, Sheila, Thomas, Trish. Wow, we got a full house tonight. So you have some specific questions. Now, it doesn't have to be on the webinar tonight. It could be on anything. You just type it in, and we'll answer that. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to get on that right away. So that would be great to have you on board. If we have any new members on the PH Alliance team, could we type that in? We want to welcome you to the team. So if you're new to the team, type in on questions or comments in the chat box. But the chat box is the chat box, and questions and comments. So any new members on the team, your first time on the call. Just having a little shot of tea here. Do we have any new members? I know Julia is a new member. So Julia, I want to say hi. There we are. So Julia Savazzi, great to have you on the team. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Actually, she's in the background here. We're kind of cheating. We know that she's here. She's actually at the house working with Krista. They're working hard on their businesses, building an empire right here at the kitchen table. It's awesome. Anybody else? Okay, we're going to give you a few more seconds. If we have no more calls, we're going to call it an evening. So, oh, there we go. Here we go. Now we're talking. I like it. I love questions.